Good morning, Ali Benjamin here with Growing Edge Live. Welcome. What an amazing, beautiful day. Every day is. I'm here, let's see if I can, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, a little bit. I'm here in Lake Mead on the edge of this beautiful body of water, Lake Mead in Nevada, and enjoying life on a joyride here in my Om Shanti home, our life on the road in our camper van. Hi, Carol. As you jump on, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Where are you? Where are you? We're here in Lake Mead, just close to Las Vegas, and we're living in this beautiful spot right on the very edge of the lake. So I'd love to know where you are. It's cold here and windy, and I know it's cold around this part of the country. So what is your temperature? I don't know what the temperature here is with us, but it was cold all night. So good morning, good morning. Good morning, Michael. And we'll wait for a couple of minutes to let everyone catch up. This is an amazing day. We have a lot to be grateful for. A lot to be grateful for. So hello, and welcome, and good morning. Good morning, good morning. So I'm going to get going. Here we go. Here's some music by my dear friend Leslie Monroe.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth, to live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge, on the growing edge.
Good morning. Ali Benjamin here at the very green growing edge. The growing edge is what I refer to as when we wake up, when we become aware that we are creating our reality. We are a part of the evolution that is taking place on the outside and on the inside. So once we're aware of that we are creative beings, we realize that we are on the edge of creating our life and our experience. So here from the Growing Edge, every Sunday, your spiritual tune in and tune up. Welcome. If you are joining us live, hello. We've got our Sunday morning virtual tribe. We've been gathering now for over 10 years. Can you believe it? And if you're joining us for the first time, very, very special welcome. Stick around. We share some insights and a little meditation and a little activation. And we do that in about 20 minutes. So welcome. And if you're watching this back at a later time, you can find all of our recordings at our YouTube channel, Satya Center. We are a growing, thriving community. And since, over the last 6, 7, 8 months, we've been primarily joining together every Sunday here on Facebook Live and on YouTube. So welcome. I'd love to start with a little grounding, a little centering. So let's take a moment, before we close our eyes, take a moment to have a look around. Where are you? What are you experiencing right now, wherever you are? Drink it in. Then take a breath and close the outer eyes. Take another breath, tuning in to that eternal broadcast of the now moment, the one life, the one presence, the one thing that is happening now. This thing called life. And as we slow down, as we give ourselves permission to arrive in this moment, to occupy this moment, to become consciously aware of this moment. There's a sense of peace. The peace that passes all understanding. The peace that is there, the underpinnings of life. When we let go of the thinking, when we let go of planning the future, thinking about the past, and we simply arrive in this moment, there is a dimension of peace that's always available to us when we're aware of it. Let's be acutely aware of the peace that is here now. Breathing in peace, breathing out peace. Relaxing the body, stilling the mind, and simply being here now. Nowhere else to be, nothing else to do, other than be here now. Awake, aware, tuned in, receptive, knowing that something prompted you to be here this morning, to be watching this live broadcast. And so I invite each of us to honor that prompting, honor that decision that we made to be here, knowing that we find something, whether it's something I share or something you feel over the next 20 minutes. There's an invitation. Life is inviting us to listen, to explore, to connect, to expand. And let's surrender to that notion now. Take another breath. Relaxing the body even more. And when you're ready, open the eyes and be here now. So welcome. Today my message, my download, my thoughts are around the notion of silver linings. Silver linings. I woke up this morning here, and if I turned the camera around, you'd see that we are this close to Lake Mead, which is a huge body of water. And I woke up this morning and the sun hadn't come up yet, but it was casting light on the clouds, and it's a very stormy day, so there's tons of clouds in the sky, and the sun was casting light on the underside of these dark clouds. And I thought, what a beautiful visual, what a beautiful affirmation for me, as my thoughts today are based on the notion of silver linings. And I woke up to experience those silver linings, literally. So going back to January, February, March, we've been experiencing collectively this thing called coronavirus, COVID-19, this lockdown, the quarantining, the social distancing, and it's really changed our experience. I know for me it has. I really took what was suggested seriously and really limited my excursions outdoors, being around other people, and was just around my beloved, my husband and partner Michael, and didn't go out much at all. And then as the months went by, I was feeling that longing to be with family, and so we made a visit to see our children, and within that visit we wore masks, and it was very different and odd, and it's just been so interesting, not only for me personally, but to see how the rest of the world is coping to all of the changes, to being socially distanced, to having many people have had loved ones that have had the coronavirus, or they've had it themselves. And so there's people that have become ill, that have got better, and many people that haven't got better and have made their transition. So we've been in this absolutely this different reality of experiencing life so differently than we're used to. So many of us have experienced change, and many of us have been traumatized by this, losing our jobs. I know that for me, my income pretty much stopped. So many of us have experienced great changes and loss in our income, loss in the way that we move and in the world, and what we participate with, our activities, our hobbies, the work we do, the way we interact. And so I wanted to take today our time together to explore the silver linings. So I ask you this question: what have been the silver linings for you in this experience? It's so easy to look outside of ourselves and see what's going wrong, to have all these opinions about, well, it shouldn't be this way, or if only it was that way. But when we slow down a moment and realize that every thought that we have is creative, every thought that we have causes something. We activate a chain of events through the thoughts that we have. So it's vitally important, very important, to understand that as we're looking outside and grumbling, complaining, seeing the dark clouds, noticing what's wrong, that kind of thinking, that kind of subtle soundtrack that kind of thinking brings to our day in, day out experience, creates the experience. So what we know, when we understand the power of our minds, when we understand that we're powerful creators that use our ability to think, our ability to visualize, to cast a vision, to recollect, like all the faculties of our mind impact the experience we're having. So it's much better for us to think about the silver linings, what's working well, what's going well, and give more attention to that than to what's not going so well, to the dark clouds, to the things that bring us down. So I ask you, what have been the silver linings for you during this whole COVID adventure, this whole lockdown, quarantine, big change? And this is global. This isn't just us here in America. Around the world, people's lives have been deeply impacted by all of the changes due to this pandemic. So what are some of your silver linings? I want you to kind of just tuck that question in your heart. Let it ruminate in that question. What are the silver linings for me? As I explore some of my silver linings, and hopefully in my sharing my silver linings, it will evoke in you this desire to notice what are the silver linings happening within your life. So, one thing that I've noticed is that it's united us, hasn't it? This whole opportunity to slow down, it's really united us as a humanity. It's humbling, isn't it? To know that we're so vulnerable, that a disease can affect all of us, that none of us are safe from it or immune to it in that way. So it really brings this sense of vulnerability, that we're all connected, we're all in this together. And in that coming together, in that noticing that we're all a part of this one giant human family, there's a sense of unity, there's a sense of caring, and there's a sense of wanting to do what's best for each other, and to watch what we do, because what we do, wear masks or not wear masks, might affect those around us. And so it's been very uniting. I know for me, the slowing down, the staying at home, the not visiting family and friends and being out in the world, I've been making more phone calls to my family. So I've connected with my family in the UK. We've had Zoom calls, we've had conversations, we're more active in our group texts on WhatsApp. So I know what's going on with them, they know what's going on with me. I'm interested in how the lockdown is in the UK, and they're interested in all the stuff that's going on in our country. So in that way, it's definitely brought us together. It's united us as siblings, and I have 5 siblings, and so it's really wonderful to see how our relationships have deepened. And I also have in our family, we have a weekly family gathering on Zoom with my children and my husband and my grandchildren, and we play games and we laugh and we eat a meal together, and we do that on Zoom. And so it's very different than getting together in person, because when we get together in person, we're busy doing stuff, cooking the meal, cleaning the house, preparing, getting ready, doing all those things. But when we have to sit down in front of a little screen and connect, there's no distracting ourselves with activities as much as there is real juicy conversations. And they haven't all been positive. There's been some differences of opinions that have come up. So we've got to know each other better. We've united that way as a family. Also, another silver lining is I've got to know myself. I'm an introvert. So this time of social distancing and quarantining has been a time of, it's been super easy for me. I prefer to my alone time. I get energized by being in my own aura, so to speak. Whereas my husband, Michael, he's more of an extrovert. He gets fed and fueled by being around people. So this time for him has been probably more challenging. I've got to know myself, and maybe you've got to know yourself during this time of change, of COVID. I've learned that I get more without all the distractions of the busyness of my life, with my jobs, my roles, my career changing paths. I've been less distracted with all the to-do lists and the things that I did that created my work world. I've had more time to look at what I want, what's really important to me. So this time of quarantine has been more about who am I and what's important to me, what's important in my life. And I've discovered that I want to write a book. I want to share my experiences on loss and trauma and the whole grief loop cycle, because what we've experienced as a family, the tremendous amount of losses that we've experienced, the trauma and the grief that has been experienced, I think it might help others. And so I'm writing a book. I never thought I'd write a book. I used to think, what would I write about? But it's something that I'm really passionate about now. And so that's a silver lining for me. Really getting clear on what I want to do and how I want to direct my energy, what I want to do with this one sacred life that I have. I can use this vehicle, this body, this mind, this heart, these hands to create something beautiful. I'm a painter artist, so I spend time painting, bringing the invisible into physical reality. So that's become something that I'm exquisitely aware of. Like, it's not even an option. I'm beginning to listen more deeply to that still small voice, that prompting, that the voice of spirit speaks quietly. and it speaks in the desires of the heart. And the desires of the heart say, I want to bring something beautiful into the world to uplift humanity. So what is it that you want to bring forth into the world to uplift your family, your friends, your circle, to uplift humanity? Could be something very simple, could be something obvious, you might be already doing it, but to know that that's your sacred gift to the world. What a gift to explore that, to know yourself more deeply. What a silver lining. Also, to acknowledge all the losses. This is another silver lining, to acknowledge what you've lost, to not brush those things under the carpet. There's things that we've lost due to the fact that we haven't been able to participate in our lives the way we used to. So it's important to acknowledge those losses, not to dwell in them, but to acknowledge them and just give thanks. Give thanks for what's no longer. And maybe some of those things will come back in the future, who knows? But to acknowledge the feelings around missing people, or having to give up things, or letting go of a particular chapter of your life. And as we acknowledge our losses, as we give time to process our feelings and our thoughts around those losses, and I'll be talking about this more next week, but as we spend time in feeling what we feel, feeling our feels, acknowledging ourselves, it's very self-nurturing and it's very therapeutic. I know for me, I've noticed that the loss that I feel, for instance, over my career, over my job, has definitely brings up this feeling of loss, of letting go, of not feeling productive, of not feeling important, of not being able to share my gifts creatively. This isn't just specific to this most recent loss. It's like a loop, it's a link. It's been happening over the course of my lifetime. And maybe you can see that for you, that this feeling of grief that we have when we lose something, when we let something go, it's been happening our whole lives. And we don't have to be negatively impacted by that if we process our feelings around it and come to a place of acceptance, a place of what's in this for me, what's next. Now I've let that go. What's next for me? So it's a very healing time. The silver lining in this is, in this time of change, is that the healing can occur, that we're healing, and we're healing collectively too. There's a collective healing that's occurring as a lot of our issues come up during this time of great self-reflection and introspection. A lot comes up to be healed, and that's a good thing. And we're seeing that as our nation is in division right now. As our nation around the world, people are things are up. People are marching. There's activism. There's things that people aren't tolerant of. There's a lot that's coming up to be healed. And whilst that's very painful, it's also very important that we address these things that we've suppressed. They're coming up into the light so that we can heal them. There's a lot of another silver lining is there's a lot of discovery taking place. A lot of good and growth is coming to the surface. A lot of innovations, a lot of change. We're having to adapt and develop new ways of being in this world. So that's another really powerful silver lining. And another one is, and my final one for today is, there's going to be time to celebrate. We can celebrate every day, the small things, the little things like the clouds and the beautiful sunrise this morning and the light that came up and all of that. That was a little celebration for me. There's little celebrations every day, all the time. But there's also going to be a time in the future when we celebrate, when we rip those masks off, when we go back to the sporting events, when we go to our granddaughter's dance recitals, when we hug our kids, when we come together as families, when we don't have to be socially distanced, when we get to shake hands. I don't know if we'll ever be so shaking hands and touching each other like in that way, but we'll be coming together in a way that feels celebratory, in a way that feels connecting and bonding. So there's so many things to look forward to. Let's have that in mind. Let's look for the silver linings, because at the end of the day, all of us have the power to choose the thoughts we think, and the thoughts we think have an impact on the experience we have, our life. So as we embrace our God-given ability to choose our thoughts, we get to choose our life, and we get to choose our experience, and to be conscious co-creators. So thank you for supporting us. Your donations mean the world to us. It allows our Satya community, our Satya Center, our Growing Edge live broadcasts to take place. You can Venmo Satya Center, SATYACENTER, and thank you. Every donation is appreciated. So let's go into activation. Let's go into prayer here for a moment, closing the outer eyes and going within and coming to that awareness that there's only one life, one power, one source, omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience, all powerful, all wise, ever present. And that's what we are. We are in the small, what spirit is in the large. We are spirit personified as you, as me, as we. And as we are individualized incarnations of the one creative spirit, let us fully take our place as co-creators in this world, knowing that we harness the power of our thoughts, that this prayer, this activation is a movement in consciousness. And let us together stand in our power, stand in our beauty, stand in our peace, in our joy, in our creativity, and say yes to life, yes to the spirit of life moving through us, bringing beauty into form, bringing love into time and space, being the caring hands, the kindness, the love that this world needs now, knowing that God, spirit, life is using our physical vehicle to bring more beauty into the world. Let us say yes to being used as a vehicle for good, to being used as a conduit, a channel for blessings. And let's feel what it feels like to be a channel for blessings in this world, that each of us are put here to support one another, to care for one another, to bring kindness and compassion and empathy into time and space. And we do this with ease and grace. We become a giving, loving, caring channel for blessings. And just feel what that feels like as we move to this higher ground, as we give ourselves permission to circulate the blessings that we're feeling in our hearts and our minds, as we give ourselves permission to stand up in our power, to say yes to thriving, to choose predominantly positive thoughts, because thoughts create, and we're creative beings. It's always been that way. Let's look for the good and praise it. Let's see the silver linings. Let's know that we're in this together, that we're healing together, that we're growing together, that good is on the horizon, good is occurring in our lives. Let's count our blessings. Let's feel our abundance. Let's live in gratitude. Let's notice all of the blessings that are occurring. There's more good that's occurring than ever before on our planet. Let's see it, let's embrace it, let's celebrate it together. Breathe it in and breathe out gratitude. And together, let's celebrate this life with absolute confidence in the good that's flowing for us, through us, to us, and around us. Let's give thanks for the ongoing force for good that our thoughts are. And let's release this prayer, this activation, with absolute confidence in our own God-given ability to occupy a place of peace and love and beauty and freedom. And together we say, and so it is. Mwah. Namaste, peace and blessings. Love you, love you. If you'd like our prayer practitioners to support you in whatever it is you're coming into alignment with, we have amazing partners in consciousness for you. I am me. Find me on Instagram, Ali J. Benjamin. You can find us on YouTube, Satya Center, and we would love to support you. So I am us, and one of our practitioners will contact you so that they can support you in absolutely manifesting what it is that you want to experience as your life. Mwah. Peace and blessings. Namaste.